VK4APV for the City of Brisbane Radio Society. Today we're going to build a tape measure Yagi. We've got our tape, we've got our instructions, got our parts, so let's get into it.
The plan we're using is by Jeffery Bail, NT1K. This is a combination of designs by Joe, WB2HOL, Andy, AA4XE, and Tom, K4TMN. The design can be found on Jeffery Bail's website, nt1k.com. This design is well laid out, and all the tools and parts required are listed. Excellent diagrams and easy to follow steps. Parts can be found at any plumbing or hardware store. I purchased my parts at Bunnings using 15mm PVC fittings, which oddly enough has an OD of 21.35mm and an ID of 17.75.
The parts list mainly has imperial components, but the measurements are both imperial and metric, so that should make for an easy build. First thing we need to do is to check our PVC pipe and our fittings for the correctness of length.
First, check the pipe insertion length into the four-way coupling. Then we can calculate and cut our various sections. Firstly, we're going to do the end and the handles. They're 133.5mm. The next section is the reflector to the driven end at 201.67. Our driven to our directors is 361mm. Once you've completed cutting the PVC pipe, join the sections and double check the measurements. With the outside diameter being about 22mm, a motorcycle handlebar grip works just fine. Once complete, the length should be around about 829mm. I picked up a foam grip from Clark Rubber at a really good price. Cutting the tape is straightforward using either tin snips or scissors. The driven elements, two of them, are at 450.85mm. The director is 892.18mm and the reflector is 1050mm. The driven elements must have the paint removed and prepped. I took off about 5mm with a file, then used some liquid flux on the exposed ends and tinned it with some solder. For the impedance matching hairpin, I made a template, measured it up, bent some 2mm enamel wire, trimmed it to length and then prepped the ends. Prepare your coax, then you can solder that and the impedance matching hairpin onto the end of the driven elements. Place the driven elements over the four-way junctions on the boom, then secure with your hose clamps. After that's complete, 6 turns of coax on the boom and secure with some electrical tape. I terminated the coax with a crimp finish RG58 SMA connector. A bit fiddly, but I got there in the end. At this stage, I checked the SWR for return losses on my tiny VNA. Found some really unusual readings. It wasn't until I put the reflector on that the SWR came into a range which was acceptable. Then I completed with the director and we're ready to go.
Okay, so we've got our 3-element tape measure Yagi and we've also got our tiny spectrum analyzer. Now with the spectrum analyzer I can put this into a transmit mode and then we can use this essentially as the Fox, and we're going to go play hound with this. Okay, so we've got the tone generator up and running, and so what we're going to do now is go for a bit of a sweep, and we've got a bit of a direction so we know where it is, and now we're actually pointing right at it. If I change my polarization, obviously it gets a little bit better when I'm vertically polarized. So the thing's working. So let's come for a walk and see how close and how loud it's going to get the closer we get to it. It's interesting, we're getting a bit of bouncing off the tin shed over here. And away go from the house, nothing there. So when you're actually doing a fox hunt, these are the sort of things that when you're placing your fox you need to consider how much reflection is going to get off some equipment. So as we get a little bit closer to the fox, the output signal now gets to the point of nearly point of saturation. So this is when we're going to need some sort of attenuator on here to knock the signal back. So for a first up project, I think it's a bit of a success, a bit of fine tuning, and we'll get the thing running a little bit better. But you know, we're going to have some fun with this out there doing the fox hunt tomorrow. VK4 APV for the City of Brisbane Radio Society. Thanks for watching.
Interested in joining in? Here's how to contact the City of Brisbane Radio Society on the web, brisbaneradiosociety.net, email vk4wiecbrs@gmail.com, Facebook page vk4wie-City of Brisbane Radio Society, on YouTube, City of Brisbane Radio Society. This is VK4 APV, and thanks for watching.